Because you're Jewish, you should put the name of Yeshua, right?
Whoa, whoa.
My goodness, you! Oh my goodness, you!
A lot of the restoration work that happens there is very much funded personally by the king. I mean, the tomb of Jesus Christ in the Holy Sepulchre was restored by personal donations from King Abdullah. And it says
Wait,
something.
what?
Absolutely, yeah.
The tomb of Jesus was restored by the Muslim king of Jordan?
Banyak orang mengira Tanah Suci adalah tempat yang damai bagi semua penganut agama Abrahamik. Namun, wawancara terbaru Tucker Carlson di tepi Sungai Yordan mengungkap kenyataan pahit yang jarang tersorot media barat. Keberadaan umat Kristen kuno di sana kini sedang di ujung tanduk. Dari pelecehan di jalanan Yerusalem hingga pengeboman gereja di Gaza. Inilah fakta mengejutkan tentang nasib Kristen Palestina di pusat konflik dunia. Sejak tahun 1948, populasi Kristen di Israel dan wilayah Palestina terus merosot tajam. Mereka bukan sekadar statistik, tapi komunitas yang kini merasa terasing di tanah kelahiran mereka sendiri akibat tekanan sistematis dan pelecehan di ruang publik.
The bottom line is there are fewer Christians now, far fewer, in absolute numbers and particularly as percentage of population than there were when the state was founded in 1948. And there's a lot of evidence in the last couple of years, particularly since the Gaza war started, and the whole tone of the conversation in this area has changed quite a bit, and the rise of extremism is very noticeable, that those numbers have gotten even smaller. And in Jerusalem, if you follow this at all on the internet, you see video clip after video clip of Christian clergy being spit at by religious extremists, not Muslim religious extremists, but Jewish religious extremists. And that's something most Americans didn't know happened, didn't think could happen, particularly since the United States, the most important Christian country in the world, is funding this. How are you treated in Israel?
Depending where you live, where you are, where you're walking. So I think, in many places in Israel, where you are respected, there's freedom of movement. I can go in most places. There are places that are restricted to any civilian, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But, in general, I can go in many places. If I'm walking in the old city, for example, if I'm in my suit, all good and well, of course, the mosaic is so beautiful there, people living together, walking together, you would enjoy the souk. But sometimes if I'm wearing my cross and my cassock, I could be treated differently by some groups.
How are you treated?
I could maybe spat at, for example.
Has someone ever spit at you?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
More than once?
More than once.
Konflik yang pecah tidak mengenal tembok gereja atau masjid. Di Gaza, rumah sakit Al-Ahli milik gereja Anglikan tak luput dari serangan bom. Sementara di tepi barat, warga Kristen harus menghadapi ancaman harian dari kekerasan pemukim ilegal yang semakin meningkat.
Would you feel unsafe going to Gaza?
Absolutely not. I've been to Gaza many, many times. And actually 2 days before the war, I was there with bishops. We visited the hospital and I would visit. I've been trying to visit the hospital. Others were successful, like other heads of churches managed to go there, both patriarchs, but I haven't, unfortunately.
It's a Christian hospital.
It's an Anglican Episcopal Christian hospital.
What is the name of it?
Al-Ahli Arab Hospital.
What kind of condition is it in?
It is now kind of in a condition that operates on minimal capacity. I don't know, I'm sure that people have been following, I don't know how many people know about this, but it was hit at least 8 times during the war.
It was bombed 8 times?
Yeah.
What's happening in the West Bank?
In the West Bank, I think, And we have seen over the past few weeks, especially, and actually not only a few weeks, even during the war, the escalation of violence of settlers in the West Bank has risen drastically. And not only to kind of Muslim neighborhoods and villages, but also to Christian villages.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I can give you an example of the two recent examples. Is one in the town of Taipei, where actually you mentioned the Ambassador Huckabee. He himself went there to visit the village after these attacks of settlers burning and graffiti on walls and going into these farms to harass farmers who are Christian.
Menariknya, tepat di seberang perbatasan, ceritanya jauh berbeda. Di Yordania, sebuah negara mayoritas Muslim, umat Kristen justru merasa aman dan dilindungi. Di sini, hubungan antaragama bukan sekedar toleransi, melainkan sebuah persaudaraan yang dijaga langsung oleh konstitusi dan kerajaan.
Let me just close by contrasting your experience in your country, Israel, where you live, with the experience in Jordan. Are there attacks on Christians in Jordan?
That question makes me laugh, first of all.
Well, in the United States, we're told that Christians are murdered in the Middle East by Muslims. This is a country run by a Muslim king. And so it would be interesting to know how many Christians are driven off their land here.
They quite often, I see on the TV or even in many reports, many people, when they see us in the streets sometimes, a few people who see us in the streets sometimes in Jerusalem or other places, they will tell us as Arabs, please go to Syria, go to Jordan, go to, why are you staying here? They ask us this question.
To you?
Yeah, to me and to others, any Arab. Many people say why are you staying here? Just go to an Arab country.
They say that to your face?
Yeah, they would say that to my face. And honestly speaking, sometimes, and I'm saying that sarcastically, of course, I think about it and I think they are right because, when I come to Jordan, I feel more at home than being in other places inside, in my own home country. Honestly.
Ada ironi besar yang diangkat dalam diskusi ini. Amerika Serikat, negara yang sering melabeli dirinya sebagai pembela nilai-nilai Kristen, justru mendanai kebijakan yang dianggap mencekik komunitas Kristen di Yerusalem dan sekitarnya. Kemana perginya solidaritas dari Barat? Sementara tokoh Barat sibuk dengan agenda politik mereka, tanggung jawab nyata justru diambil oleh pemimpin Muslim. Raja Abdullah dari Yordania lah yang secara pribadi mendanai restorasi situs-situs suci Kristen, termasuk Gereja Makam Kudus dan Gereja Kelahiran Yesus. Ini bukan sekedar soal uang, ini adalah soal siapa yang sebenarnya peduli pada keberlangsungan sejarah kekristenan di sana.
Did you experience discrimination growing up here as a Christian?
Never. I've never felt discriminated against as a Christian. Of course, there's people that don't sometimes understand Christian religious tradition, and there are sometimes questions, and there are sometimes theological, of course, differences, and you can have a discussion about that and argue about that, right? But discrimination, in terms of I feel at a disadvantage to be Christian here, absolutely not. I agree with you. I think there's an angle I'd like to focus on here.
Yeah.
So, the Hashemites are very much the custodians of the Christian and the Muslim sites in Jerusalem. Yeah. And I think maybe that, if you allow me, Tucker, I think that's something that people don't realize, is that a lot of the restoration work that happens there is very much funded personally by the king. I mean, the tomb of Jesus Christ in the Holy Sepulchre was restored by personal donations from King Abdullah. And it says something.
Wait, what?
Absolutely, yeah.
The tomb of Jesus was restored by the Muslim king of Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, that's the king of Jordan.
It's kind of a surprise ending to the story, I have to say. I don't think...
He's a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, right? And he's the one restoring the tomb of Jesus Christ. And I think that's this interfaith story.
That's true?
It is true. There's another story on the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I think it's, it shows you just how old these traditions are in the region and how welcoming it used to be to people from across all faiths, be they Jewish or Christian or Muslim, right, in the past. So since, I think 1,000 years ago, since Salahuddin or Saladin, right?
Yeah.
The keys to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, okay, did not belong to any of the Christian denominations because they couldn't agree amongst themselves, right? The Armenian, the Orthodox, the Catholic,
Ethiopian, yeah.
Ethiopian, like who's going to have the key to the church, right? And actually that key was handed to, at the time, Salahuddin. And even today, those keys are handed to a Muslim family. It's, I think, the Nasib family of Jerusalem. They open the church in the morning, and they close the church at night. So that's the kind of these are the stories we grew up with as Christians in the region, as Muslims in the region, even as Arab Jews, right, from the region. This is sort of the faith and the common faith and cultural tradition we grew up with here. So a lot of the stuff that we see today is very new. These are lines drawn in the sand by colonial powers that really sort of destroyed that social cohesion and the social fabric that existed here.
Di saat umat Kristen asli di Tanah Suci berteriak meminta tolong, jutaan umat Kristen di belahan dunia lain, terutama di Amerika Serikat, justru menjadi pendukung paling vokal bagi kebijakan pemerintah Israel. Seringkali, karena alasan teologis atau politik, dukungan ini justru mengabaikan penderitaan saudara seiman mereka yang merupakan keturunan langsung dari jemaat gereja mula-mula. Wawancara ini mengingatkan kita bahwa di balik berita politik dan perang, ada identitas kuno yang perlahan terkikis. Apakah dunia akan terus diam hingga lonceng gereja terakhir di Yerusalem berhenti berbunyi? Sampaikan pendapat kalian di kolom komentar, dan jangan lupa untuk menyebarkan informasi ini. Terima kasih telah menonton.